How much have you spent on weight loss? $1,000, $5,000? Have you ever felt like you're emptying your bank account on every new diet pill, exercise routine, every trend that you could find, and you're still not at your weight loss goal? And what's worse, you end up feeling sicker and heavier than when you started? You're not alone in feeling this way. There's a reason for our weight loss struggles and for the constant battle with cravings and chronic illness. It's a reason that they don't want you to know. Because the truth is, your cravings and chronic illness aren't just happening to you, they're being engineered. There are medical breakthroughs in the news all the time. They spend an absurd amount of money researching how the body works and how to keep us healthy. Or at least that's what we're told. And if that was actually true, you'd expect that our population would be getting healthier. But year after year, we're sicker, heavier, and more reliant on medication. What a paradox. I definitely was on the low-fat, calorie-counting bus for years. I bought diet shakes. I've had so many gym memberships to so many different gyms, actually, now I think about it. And somehow I ended up 80 pounds overweight, waiting for hip surgery. Please subscribe. What weight loss lies have you tried? Did they work? Was it just me? Of course not. But that's what they want us to think. They want us to think that we are the problem. Here's what sucks. There's a lot of research happening, but the companies funding the research don't care about improving our health. When snack, soda, and fitness companies fund health research, it's to learn how to best monetize our illness, symptoms, and our desire to feel better. Now, I've struggled with this idea, Wellness Warrior, because it boggles my mind that companies could possibly want to hurt their customers. But from a business standpoint, curing a disease is a one-time sale. Do you know what they would have to charge us if they could cure our illness one shot? Most of us wouldn't be able to afford it. Managing chronic symptoms, though, that's recurring revenue. And that allows the cost to come way down. If we're just all doing the diet, in the exercise program, or taking the meds, I want to be clear about this though, because I'm not telling you to stop taking your medications. Obviously, some medications are necessary to keep us alive and to keep our mental situation stable and even so that we can, live our lives. What I'm saying is that financial gains shift the incentive from prevention to perpetual management. And not acknowledging that is a huge mistake. So I want to look at sugar specifically because sugar is the center of our health problem. And we can all acknowledge that, right? We all know that the junk food that we eat contributes to our weight gain. So I want to start there. Did you know that sugar used to be a spice and that it used to be used very sparingly? It was actually a luxurious spice, to be clear. Like, it was expensive and only rich people were able to use it back in the 16th, I think it started, to 18th centuries. But when we come and sort of fast forward to today, sugar is not just sprinkled on stuff. It's the main ingredient. Sugar is advertised as a necessary macronutrient, but it's also great in its ability to make non-nutritive kibble taste delicious, which was really handy back in the 19th century when they needed to figure out a way to feed the masses, right? So there wasn't enough food. And there were famines all throughout history that took a lot of lives. So figuring out a way to feed a bunch of people that was cost effective when there weren't, well, can I really say there weren't enough animals? But again, could the poor people afford the animals? No. So figuring out a way to feed the rest of the people was really important. Sugar allowed them to do that, right? It let things that would normally taste gross, even for a starving person, to taste like food. And is it gross or is it wrong? In Michael Moss's book, when they showed him how things would taste without the right combination of salt, sugar, fat, he said it tasted inedible. So basically, we took some inedible tasting stuff, put enough sugar in it to make it taste edible. And we are still doing that to ourselves till this day. But the other thing that we don't know about sugar is that sugar is a great ingredient for shelf stability. And it's a great ingredient for addictiveness. And by not widely advertising that information, again, we just somehow accept that we can buy a box of cookies, put it on a shelf, and 3 months later eat it. But if we baked some cookies using real ingredients, 3 months later they had to go in the garbage. We don't question that, Wellness Warrior. Honestly, what we're talking about is weaponizing food. There's so much manipulation and greed in our food system, our food chain, that it reads like a bad horror movie. But it's the reality of our 2025 lives. The manipulation starts with food scientists learning that sugar, salt, and fat in the right combination creates the bliss point. This isn't just about something tasting fun or making us happy. The bliss point is a flavor combination that is so satisfying, it overrides your natural fullness cue. That's the thing that would tell your body, stop eating that. If you keep eating, it's going to make you sick. That cue. The bliss point overrides it. This isn't just about tasting good. The way I want you to think about this, if someone sneakily implanted an electrode into someone else's brain. So maybe we're talking about, a surgeon, a brain surgeon did some surgery, and while they're in there, they just put this electrode in there that they could control. And then whenever that surgeon would press a button, the person would feel compelled to give that surgeon $1. We would all be outraged that that was happening. But the thing is, until the surgeon got caught, those patients would be quietly Venmoing that person $1 every time they pressed a button, right? Every few days, possibly. I want you to understand that the way our brains naturally are wired, those people that were sending the money to the surgeon would end up telling themselves a story about maybe how grateful they were to this surgeon for saving their lives, and that they just deserve to be paid more. So they deserve another $1 of their money, and they would send them the $1. Wellness Warrior, these scientists have tapped into our pleasure pathways, and they're triggering us to overeat because these seemingly harmless foods actually block our fullness signals. These foods actively create dependence, and the fact that they are labeling the bliss point, so the scientists labeled that a bliss point, tells us that they know they're doing this to us. So they create marketing campaigns that tap into our primal drive to solve hunger quickly, right? Because that's just a natural instinct that we all have. Feel hungry, eat something. Back in the day, we would have to catch that thing. Today, we walk to the kitchen. Every time you eat ultra-processed food, you are pressing the button and giving them your money. Yeah, that's the sadistic part. They've gotten us to press the button, and then we think we must be eating this stuff because we love it, right? In our heads, we're like, fuck the diet. This stuff is awesome. It's great. Food companies are no different than the pusher on the corner. And can I say that that sucks? All of these advancements in food processing that could be solving food anxiety and food insecurity in countries that actually need this kind of assistance. But rather than do that, that data is being used to enslave us to eat for a dopamine hit. And worse, we're doing this to our children. They want to get them as early as possible and keep them for life, because that's where the real money is. These packaged snacks that are shelf-stable and convenient are full of sugar. made from low quality ingredients, nutritionally empty, and hella profitable. It's not just about convenience, although that's a very strong motivator for many of us parents who don't have the time to cook, or so we think. We think we don't have time to cook. But it's not just about that. It's also about being part of the group, right? Coke versus Pepsi, Ruffles versus Pringles, Ben and Jerry's versus Haagen-Dazs. We take sides and fight over which brand is better. They're all garbage. All of them. And worse, in our fight over which brand is better, we end up advertising for them, right? We're advertising for them while we're eating ourselves sick. We have shirts with them, with their logos on it. We will make sure that we show the packaging of whatever we're eating. If we are a diet Pepsi drinker, which is what I used to be, we proudly put that can of Pepsi on our desk. Look at how healthy I'm being. I'm drinking diet Pepsi. There is an obvious link between ultra processed convenience foods and the explosion of chronic disease that has happened over the last few years. Before processed foods were introduced, our biggest struggles were infectious diseases. And luckily, we were able to, again, through medical innovation and research and all the things, figure out those diseases. By doctors understanding germs, learn to wash our hands more, and right, we figured it out. Initially, this was great stuff that we were doing, Wellness Warrior. Back in the day, obesity was not a health threat. Because why? Because we barely had enough food. And then eventually, when the upper classes began to gain weight, the men in the upper classes, which a lot of the upperclassmen were also like in the like they were the warriors too, right? They started to understand that if they were going to be able to fight and keep us safe, they needed to be fit. So they worked on themselves. And then the intellectuals saw that if they were not eating properly, they were sluggish. And so they worked on themselves. There seemed to be an understanding that excess weight was not healthy for the warriors, and it wasn't healthy for the intellectuals. And so we were able to manage what we were eating. We took action. If we walk forward to the early 20th century, diabetes rates were less than 2%. But today, there's 530 million diabetics around the world. In Canada alone, 10% of our population diabetic. In the US, it's 11.6% of the population. You guys always have to try to beat us. That's 38.4 million people. So for context, that's the population of California, which is almost the population of Canada. That's a lot of people. Somehow, being overweight, which is connected to diabetes, we all see that link. I talk about it in this video here, by the way. Being overweight has risen to 43% worldwide, and it's probably more than that because that statistic was from 2022. And I don't want to forget to mention that heart disease also rose alongside of weight and diabetes. The increase in these illnesses have been mirrored by processed food. I learned that from Dr. Nobe, this dude. Obesity, diabetes, and heart disease went from rare conditions to commonplace. We all know someone with one of these conditions, and likely that person's in our family. They're related to us. What's really frustrating about that, the doctor is going to turn and say to you something like, well, you know, this is a genetic condition, or you know, these things run in families. Being overweight is one thing. Being overweight and tired, or being overweight with joint pain, that's something else. Around the 1930s, our very heavy and sick population was begging for solutions because being overweight and tired and in pain and feeling sick all the time, nobody wants that. An industry stepped in and provided the very successful diet pill. Well, it's successful if your definition of success is that companies made billions. Since, despite the fact that the original diet pill was an epic fail that resulted in cataracts, hyperthermia, and even on some occasions, death, companies continued to invest in their production. So they didn't stop making them. They kept tweaking them and right? Today, billion-dollar industry. Why did they do that? Well, diet pills are a quick and easy solution. We get to keep eating garbage and just take a pill, right? This pill's going to help you to be at a good weight. This is the ultimate monetization of misery. Sell you garbage so you gain weight and you feel horrible, and then sell you a pill or a workout program or a surgery or whatever other solution they're going to come up with, because they keep finding new things to sell us that promises to fix the problem without any need to change your relationship with food, so that they can keep fattening you up and selling you fake solutions. Well, I guess I shouldn't call them fake solutions. They're temporary solutions. And that's part of the problem. There are some results, and so people think, well, hey, it's working. And then eventually, when the weight comes back on, we blame ourselves, right? It's me. I didn't do it right. I didn't do it enough. I didn't push hard enough. I blame myself. All the while, that neurosurgeon's back there pushing the button 1,000 more times. How much more money have they collected? Pushing the button, push it. They are selling us perpetual disease management while simultaneously selling us the cause of the problem. This isn't a theory, wellness warrior. I don't know how much I want to bet, but I bet a lot that your doctor, nutritionist, or even trainer has told you that you should be eating everything in moderation to avoid weight gain, right? Yet, we are surrounded by foods designed to make moderation impossible. So what happens? If you're anything like me, you felt like a failure day after day because you thought you could have one cookie, moderation, and then you ate the row. It's like asking someone to walk a straight line while the floor is tilted and covered in oil. They're setting us up to fail and then blaming us and then offering us solutions that take the control away from us. And once we're on those meds, we're locked in because not only do we need them to stay thin, often getting off the meds, damn near impossible because they also are habit forming. So those 1930s diet pills, apparently those were amphetamines. Just in case I'm not being clear enough, the problem isn't just what we are eating. The problem is how and why so many foods are designed to keep you craving, keep you eating, and ultimately keep you needing solutions that aren't real solutions. They are money printing machines that benefit the very industries that claim to have our best interest at heart. Your struggles are not a personal failing. They are a response to an environment engineered for profit, not your well-being. But the good news, once you see it, you gain the power to change it. All the frustration that you've lived is explained by the history of sugar and the processed food industry. You aren't imagining that diet and exercise doesn't work. You are fighting against decades of calculated marketing strategies. Luckily, what the companies have done to us is not a permanent wire in our brain. The answer is actually shockingly simple and exactly what the companies that profit from your sickness don't want you to understand. Here it is. Eat real unprocessed food. When you eat real, one ingredient foods, you deprive manipulative companies of their power over your health and your wallet. Now, you might be wondering, how anyone would be able to eat simple one ingredient foods when I just explained how we are all being controlled by companies surrounding us by addictive garbage. This is where keto and carnivore come into play. The basics of doing keto is eating less than 20 grams of carbs a day. And if you're doing carnivore, you're eating almost zero carbs, especially if you come to carnivore from keto. So we're starting with healthy keto and carnivore. If you be careful, okay, marketers will meet you where you are, wellness warrior. That's the best way to trick you into believing that they care about you and have your best interest at heart. But the real reason that they're going to meet you where you are is that you're the most vulnerable there. So, you want to do keto? Here's some keto bars or keto bread. Ooh, keto cereal. This is going to help you out. Before you know it, you've replaced regular garbage with really expensive keto garbage. Real food keto, so keto where you eat real food, helps you to lower your carb count and fake ingredients that your body doesn't know what to do with. So I want you to understand that metabolic dysfunction isn't just a sugar problem. Those chemicals and seed oils that you've been eating in processed food are causing damage to your body. Keto and carnivore aren't just diets. They're the solution that help you to walk away from the profit-driven food world that we've been trapped in for my entire existence, honestly. What I love most about keto and carnivore is that if you actually eat on plan, we proved that exercise is not needed for weight loss. So that calorie in, calorie out gets completely debunked. And by getting your body back, any activities you choose to do, they're a bonus. It's actually quite amazing how feeling good actually encourages us to want to do our activities again. The goal isn't fast weight loss. The goal is to build a healthy body that can help you to live your life for decades and decades and decades to come. By eating nutrient-dense, real foods, you aren't just losing weight. You're allowing your body to repair itself and potentially avoiding unnecessary health issues. Think of your body like a garden. You wouldn't plant in dead soil where there's no sunlight and then refuse to water the plant, all the while expecting to get beautiful roses, right? That wouldn't make any sense. Processed foods are the dried up corner of the garden that you don't want to go and take care of. Whereas real whole foods are the nutrient rich soil that is well watered with just that right amount of sunlight to help your body do what it wants to do. You have more power than you think. Every time you eat meat, fish, poultry, and eggs instead of processed garbage, you're making a decision to reclaim your health and to say no to sick care, right? That sick care system, we all need to get out of it. You're eliminating their ability to market you into poor health, wellness warrior. Which brings me to the pause that I want to take right now to thank my incredible channel supporters. There are no sponsors on this video because your generosity helps me to continue to bring this vital information and empower more women to take control of their health. Every bit helps us to continue the fight for real health. It's time to break free from the cycle of sickness, yo-yo dieting, and overspending on non-nutritive junk by eating real, unprocessed food. Now, to do that, you'll need to work on your cravings by clicking on this video. I'm curious to know what is one processed food you're going to commit to reducing or even eliminating after watching this video. Put it in the comments. And let's inspire each other and encourage each other by commenting on each other's comments. We can do this if we work together. Talk to you in the next video.